Hello and welcome to the Learning Love Podcast, brought to you by the Learning Love Foundation, helping people transform how they love, live, and lead. I'm your host, Dr. Mark A. Hicks, and I want to thank you for joining us today as we spend some time learning love. Love is the answer. Now all we have to do is explore all the questions. And today I want to talk about emotion. We all know emotion is part of love. Now, in my book, Learning Love, I teach the 5 components of love. All 5 of these components are vital. We have to learn and practice all 5 if we want to build the healthy, happy, thriving relationships that we want and that we need and that we deserve. But one of those components, I listed as the second one in my book, it is emotion. Emotion is vital. It's not the only aspect of love. When we think that love is only a feeling, we're missing it because love is a skill set. It's not just a feeling, but feelings are part of it. Emotion is part of it. And I am concerned that in our society, we are missing a vital emotion that we just simply don't practice anymore, that we have taken out of our vocabulary, that we just do not practice in society. Now, there may be exceptions to this. There's plenty of people out there that are different. They do things in a different way, and that they may still have all the emotions out there, including the one I'm going to talk about today. But there is one emotion I think we need to bring back that too many people have set aside, that too many people have never let themselves experience, and that is sadness. We need to bring back sadness. I know that sounds strange, but let me tell you what has happened, at least at my observation. We have replaced sadness with anger. We have decided that we as people need to be tough. We need to be strong. We need to be rigid. We need to be tenacious. And sadness just doesn't play well with that. Sadness seems more soft. It seems more withdrawn. And in a society where we are taught, you better be tough, you better be strong, you better be dominant, or people will walk on you, sadness doesn't really just fit. But anger does. Anger plays really well into that mindset. Now, what I just described in this tough, strong, rigid, tenacious, that's a stereotype for men. Okay, just a flat stereotype for men, that men are supposed to be strong and rigid and tough and tenacious and dominant. Okay, but I think it also applies to how women feel today. A lot of women, particularly if you're in business, you've probably been told women are just too emotional. Women are too weak. You know, they say those kind of sexist things, and it puts women in a place where they have to show over and over again that they're strong, they're tough, they can be dominant, they can be strong leaders. Now, I've never been a woman in the workplace, so ladies, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like, that women are under just as much pressure today as men to be strong, tough, tenacious, leadership qualities, get out there and dominate. And when things go wrong, when we get hurt, sadness doesn't play into that very well. In fact, even from childhood, we'll make fun of it. When someone seems sad as a child, how many other children say things like, oh, you got your little feelings hurt. Look at the little baby got their feelings hurt. And we can bring that same attitude into adulthood. How many families hurt one another and then say, you're just too sensitive. You just get your feelings hurt so easy, as a way of dismissing those feelings, as a way of dismissing the hurt someone has inflicted on a family member. How many times do we hear things like, this is business. There's no room for somebody getting their feelings hurt here. This is not personal. This is business. This is not about personal feelings. This is about business. And when we live that kind of lifestyle, even from childhood, being taught, if you get your feelings hurt, you're weak, and being told, if you're in the workplace, this is not personal, this is business, you can't have feelings here, you don't get your feelings hurt here. And in the family, when we hurt each other, we defend ourselves by saying, you're just too sensitive. You just get your feelings hurt too easy, as a way of justifying the hurt that we inflict upon one another. Sadness feels too weak, and so we've replaced it with anger. It's so easy now to come back with, well, I'm not hurt, I'm angry. I'm not hurt. I didn't get my feelings hurt. I'm furious. You didn't hurt me. You ticked me off. When we come back with that anger, it feels more of a strong reaction, a tenacious reaction, that dominant reaction we're looking for in our culture. And so we've basically done away with sadness. I don't hear people talking about it. You don't hear people say that their feelings are hurt. You don't hear people talking about being sad. What you hear people say is, I'm angry, I'm furious, I'm ticked off, etc., etc. We have a lot of ways of expressing our anger. We've taken away sadness because it feels too weak, and we've replaced it with anger. And so now, when we look at the state of our family and someone is hurting us, we can't show emotion. We can't show sadness. We have to get angry and fire back. When we're in the workplace and someone is snippy and they're just not acting very nice, we can't say, man, that just really hurts when people act like that. When meetings get out of hand and lots of stuff gets said in a meeting, we can't go away and just say, you know what, I need a break because all that just hurt. We can't do that. We got to fire back. We got to be angry. Here's the problem. Our nervous system reacts two different ways to those emotions. When we are angry, that is the go signal. Anger is there to lash out. Anger is there to fight. Anger is the call to war. When we are angry, we are called, our nervous system gears up for the fight. When we are sad, when something hurts us, our nervous system says we need to heal. We need to pull back. We need to take a few deep breaths. We need to get by ourselves. We need to talk to a friend. We need to talk to a counselor. We need to just take some time, go for a walk. We need to get out in nature. We need to do whatever relaxes us so that we can heal. Sadness is a call to healing. Sadness is also a call for compassion. When we're in that meeting at work, when it got completely out of hand and people said crazy stuff and people really were just throwing arrows at one another, emotionally speaking, when we feel sad about that, we not only have that call to healing from our nervous system, that instinctive idea, I'm hurt, so I need to heal. We also have a certain level of compassion. It's sad that people act in such a ridiculous manner. It's just sad that we've reached a place where people can't even talk to each other. It's so sad that we can't even solve a problem without all the venom and the hatred. And when we have that approach, when we have that element that we feel sad that people are such a mess, that our family is such a mess that we can't even talk to each other, it seems, without fighting. It's so sad that we've reached this point that we just hurt each other. It's a call to healing, because when we hurt, we want to heal. And it's a call to compassion, that it's so sad that they're like that. That's a vastly different reaction instinctively in our nervous system, in our bodies, in our instincts, than it is when we're angry. When we let anger be the only emotion to the hurts of life, we are allowing anger to do the job it was never intended to do. We were never wired up for anger to be our only response to hurt. Anger is there to protect us, to get in the fight, to be called to war when there is imminent, actual danger, when we are no longer safe, when we are under actual threat. That's time to get angry. That's time we lash out. That's time we defend ourselves. If someone is actually physically attacking you, yeah, it's time to get angry, and it is time to lash out and defend yourself. But someone says something that you don't agree with, that's not the time to get angry. That may be a time to be sad that that person is so misguided, that those people are so messed up, that we as human beings can get to such a bad state. This even applies to our politics. What would it be like if we looked at the other side, and this is not a political show, so I'm not taking sides, but it's a relationship show, and we are in relationship with one another in society. And so what if we looked at one another in the other side of the political spectrum, and instead of seeing them as a threat, we see a group of people, and we realize it is so sad they are so messed up. It is so sad that they have gotten so far away from the truth. It is so sad that we've reached this place in society that so many people are just this confused. That's a very different response. And it calls us to compassion, and it calls us to healing, because it hurts. It hurts to look at people around us and see how messed up they are, to see how hurtful they are and how hateful they are. That hurts. And so hurt calls us to heal, and hurt calls us to compassion, realizing that people are messed up because they're hurt. And in their hurt, they're often lashing out in anger because we've done away with sadness. Anger is there for imminent threats, actual danger. It's not a bad thing. Anger is not bad. We don't need to do away with it. but we need to reserve it for what it's for. It's a secondary emotion. Anger is a secondary emotion. It comes from grief, sadness. It comes from hurt. When that hurt is being experienced from an imminent danger, that's when anger needs to kick in, and we defend ourselves. We fight. We go to war because we are in actual danger. But other people being a mess, other people having messed up opinions, other people having political viewpoints that are just completely absurd in our mind, family members that are just so hostile. We don't have to be angry about that. That's not an imminent danger. That's a hurt. It hurts to see family members that say such harsh things, that say such mean things to us. It hurts to go into a workplace where people are just cruel to each other. It hurts to live in a nation where people are cruel to one another and that people are so far from the truth. All these things hurt. They call us to be sad, not angry. And when we're sad, we are called to healing. It is a time to find ways to heal, not ways to hurt someone else because we're hurt. Anger leads us to hurt someone else in defense of ourselves. Sadness calls us to heal our hurts and have compassion, knowing that someone else is messed up because they've been hurt and they're lashing out in anger. We need to recapture sadness, as strange as that sounds. We've replaced it with anger, and that's why we can't look around and not see anger everywhere. Politically, in religion, in workplaces, in families, anger is everywhere. And it's because we don't have anywhere else for our negative emotions to go. So we just run to anger so that we can be strong and tough and tenacious and never show weakness. Sadness is not weak. Sadness is healing. Sadness calls us to find ways to take care of ourselves, that self-care, that self-compassion, and to have compassion for other people that are completely messed up, that are so far from the truth, that are acting the way they're acting. You're going to be a lot healthier, a lot happier. We're going to have a better society. We're going to have better workplaces and families if more people are practicing sadness in response to hurt instead of anger. It's time for us to recapture sadness. It's time for us to admit that, yes, we get hurt. And it's not weak. It's a reality of life. And we are wired up to take time to heal, to take those walks, to talk it out with someone, to take care of ourselves. And it's time to have compassion because people are messed up. And lashing out in anger with them is just going to probably make things worse. There's a time for anger, but it's not every time we get hurt. Most of the time, when we are getting hurt, it's time for sadness, healing, and compassion. And that's my thoughts this week as we are working towards better families, better workplaces, better communities, better society through the components and the understanding of love. I want to thank everyone associated with the Learning Love Foundation, which brings you this message each week. If you want to go to the website, it is learninglovefoundation.com. And on that website, you'll find an easy link to purchase my book, Learning Love, Building a Life That Matters and Healthy Relationships That Last. I want to thank my producer, Abby Graves of Abby Graves Production, and I want to thank all of you for listening. Until next week, love well, everyone.